Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Council Chamber, City Council Chamber. Before we begin the subcommittee meeting, I just wanted to take an opportunity to welcome Chancellor Meehan to the City Council Chambers, along with your staff. This is a subcommittee meeting of the Community University Partnerships. And again, with us tonight is Chancellor Meehan and his staff to discuss the university and collaboration efforts with the city over this and a number of future years. So with that, I'd like to turn the meeting over to the chairman of Community Education Partnerships, or University Partnerships, excuse me, Councilor Samaras, along with his members of the subcommittee, Councilor Rita Mercier and Councilor Edward Kennedy. So with that, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mayor Elliott. Thank you, Mayor Elliott. I'd like to have the clerk call the roll.
Chairman Samaras.
Present.
Councilor Kennedy.
Here.
Councilor Mercier.
Here.
3 present.
I'd also like to note that Councilor Belanger is here. City Councilor Rourke.
And the city manager's here.
City Manager Murphy's here. School Committee Person Gendron just came into the room, and Mr. Leary from the School Committee. Thank you for being here. And also should note the former publisher of the Lowell Sun, Kendall Wallace. Thank you. All right, tonight, presentation by Chancellor Meehan is to talk about the economic development and its relationship with the city of Lowell. I think as city council, it's very important for us to have a complete understanding of what is going on at the university, Chancellor Meehan, and also to talk about how we can be of assistance. You've been very successful in what you've been doing over the past few years, and I think a lot of the success that we see in Lowell and a lot of Lowell's potential success will come because of that university. So rather than take up any more time, Chancellor Meehan, I'd ask you to, if you could give us an overview of what has been happening at the university and what you see that will be developing in the near future, and how we as city councilors can be of service to you. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Councilor Samaras. Appreciate the opportunity, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Manager, and members of the City Council. I have a brief presentation prepared, and then we can into a dialogue with questions. I also asked members of the university administration who play a critical role in collaborating and working with the city to be here. First and foremost is Paul Marion, the Director of Community and Cultural Affairs, who is here, and if we read the Saturday chat, we see that he got a pretty good review on his new book on the National Park, which I looked at it myself, and it's actually great work. To the left of him is Patty Coffey, who's Assistant Director for Community Relations. To my left is Tom Miliano, who's the Director of Administration and Office Services. What it really means is transportation. City Manager Murphy recently had a meeting about transportation in and around the new Howe Bridge. We brought our folks in, and we have a continuing dialogue looking at transportation generally. So Tom is our point person there, and I know he's thrilled to be back as Adam Backey, the Director of Campus Planning and Development, who is no stranger to these council chambers. So I thought I'd give a quick presentation here. Obviously, these are exciting times at the university. We have spent the last 7 years repositioning UMass Lowell so that we're viewed really as a public university that's entrepreneurial in the approach to everything that we do. And initially, what we did was basically look at how can we sort of realign our administration, realign our resources, and in a time of limited resources. What I think most members of the City Council or even the city wouldn't be aware is that we have actually reinvested money in the academic side of the institution in academic affairs, $37 million in additional funding. What have we done with that? Well, we've grown our faculty from 580 to over 1,000 today. Faculty is the key to any university's effectiveness. We've added over 200 staff who are helping to improve services for students and also maintain daily operations of the campus. This is a 30% increase. On the other side of the chart, you see our pillars of excellence, and basically, You know, that's what our strategy is. Everything that's listed there, that's what we're looking to do. And we have had an incredible transformation at the university. We focused on enrollment growth. And a lot of times people say, well, why on enrollment growth? Well, we knew we needed to increase the number of tenure-track faculty. We needed to invest in resources. And the only way to generate the revenue and the resources that are needed is to grow enrollment, where you have the capacity to grow it. Many of you probably think of us as a state-funded institution. Well, we do get a subsidy from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. It's about 23–24% of our overall budget. So we actually get more money and more revenue from students. So we've grown enrollment where we have the capacity, and that figure of 19,800, that includes master's program, PhDs, continuing education, and online learning. What's really interesting about this growth, and I would challenge you to look at any college or university that's grown enrollment. We've grown it by about 47%. But what we've also done is become more selective. Our average math verbal SAT score has gone up 79 points since the fall of 2008. So when you grow enrollment yet become more selective, it's given us an opportunity to really to increase our rankings, to increase by any metric that you'd look at a university. As I mentioned, I think I'm in Councilor Martin's seat here. We also have increased our continuing education. That provides online programs that are accessible, obviously, to folks who live in Lowell, our summer sessions, satellite programs. We are opening a new satellite campus in Haverhill. So we have a lot of things that are going on in order to support our growth and enrollment. And our goal for 2018 is 20,000 students. Ultimately, we expect to become a university that basically has between 20 and 22,000 students. In order to accomplish these plans, we've had to do some fundraising. When I arrived at UMass Lowell, our endowment was $34 million. That's not nearly high enough for a university of our size and our stature. We have it up to $78 million, and we're going to get it over $100 million by 2018. Why is that important? It's important because as the state, over the last 7 years, has cut funding and tuition has increased, it's really important that we provide scholarships for students. You know, it's interesting. If you look at UMass education and factor in inflation, and look at it over the last 30 years, or at least since I graduated from UMass Lowell, the cost of an education actually has stayed about the same. What has shifted is who pays for it. Who pays for it has gone from basically the Commonwealth. When I graduated from UMass, the Commonwealth provided about 85% of the overall budget. As I mentioned, it's about 23 to 24%. So who pays for it has shifted to students and their families. We need to raise the money for scholarships. You can see from that chart that we have been, but there's a lot more that we have to do. The other thing that I would tell you, over the last year, we've had 125 faculty and staff members that have contributed over $2.4 million towards this endowment. So not only are we raising money from alums, but folks that work at the university, faculty members, administration, are all contributing to that. So if we've gotten our budget cut, how have we been able to invest in the buildings and invest in new faculty and do the things that we're doing? Well, by being entrepreneurial and growing revenue. You see from that chart where we were in terms of revenue and where we are now. That's a significant growth in revenue, and let's say the new University Crossing that most people in the city are really excited about, that is 100% paid for by increasing revenue. There isn't any state money involved in that, so we have to pay a 30-year note on that building. We think that it's a good investment to make for a lot of reasons that I'll get into, but this chart is very important to how we're able to do the things that we're doing here in the city. Now we came up with a strategic plan. This is not, I think sometimes I get more credit than I deserve for what's happening at the university. We came up with a strategic plan. The faculty, over 200 members of the faculty, administration, deans, alumni, students, and we're implementing that strategic plan. And from time to time, you ask yourself, well, is it working? Are we accomplishing what we set out to accomplish? And we have had independent validation that our plan is working. We've been around, as all of you know, we've been around as an institution. The Lowell Normal School was established in 1894. The Textile School on the other side of the river 2 years later. In all that time, we had never been ranked, nationally ranked top-tier university till 4 years ago when we were ranked a top-tier U.S. News and World Report university, and we have been climbing in those rankings at the second highest rate of any college university in the country. We ranked very highly nationally on return on investment, meaning what folks do is compare what our graduates make to how much they paid for their education. We are consistent. Forbes ranked us 10th among public universities in the country. So we have done really well in terms of our ranking. We just recently had the New England Association of Schools and Colleges come in. They accreditate colleges and universities in New England every year. We got the best accreditation report that we've gotten ever. So, and these are experts from higher education, from other colleges and universities in the northeastern part of the country. Recently, UMass Lowell was designated an association, by the Association of Public Land-Grant Universities as an innovative economic prosperity university. We were recognized because of our innovation, entrepreneurship, our technology transfer, workforce development, and community development. This is an award that only went to 14 institutions across the country, and we were one of them. And one of the things that they do in determining these awards is they talk to people that own, from the private sector, who own companies and run companies in the region. So we're very proud of that and proud to continue to play that important role. I don't expect anybody to be able to read this chart, but the point I want to make about this, and I think you may have, some of you have the presentations, our expansion hasn't been random. The university has conducted a series of thoughtful planning studies and permitting efforts that have defined what the campus needs are and facilitated efficient development of new and renovated campus buildings. So this is all being done with a plan that is very much strategic. Everything that we do is strategic, and the result of it is our emerging campus that I think all of you are very, very familiar with on the south, the east, which the east campus is where basically the Tsonga Center is in the ballpark and in most of the residence halls, as well as the north campus side of the university. Which brings me to our buildings most recently in design or in construction. Our most major recent development is University Crossing, which I mentioned is really a campus centerpiece. It's a $100 million project, which is our most expensive project. It is a 228,000 square foot, 4-story project. That was a St. Joseph's Hospital project. It was 6 buildings. We did an analysis of all the buildings and determined that the 3 newer buildings in the back we would renovate and we could save. The 3 older buildings, which are in the front, were buildings that we determined had to be taken down, and we designed a new building in front. It was painful to see St. Joseph's come down for many in the community who had an affiliation with St. Joseph's, so many people who were born there, who worked there. And there's a St. Joseph's community that we've engaged and brought them back to the new building. But this is a building that is geographically located in between our campuses, which we have seen is encouraging more students walking from the North Campus over to the East, in part because of the beautiful new bridge over the Merrimack that the state has constructed. By the way, the reason why we wanted to, the reason we located the Mark and Elisa Saab building where we did, and the reason why we wanted University Crossing was because we knew that bridge was going to be there, and we knew that it could change the whole paradigm of campus life at the university. We've consolidated our bookstores, student services, administration, career service. We have advancement there, and really, it is something that we're helping revitalize that area. If you were to talk to some of the businesses in that area, you would find that that area is beginning to thrive. We're working with the city on an economic development strategy there, and we're very happy with the way the building has come along. If those of you who haven't been in the building, I would urge you to visit the building. We view the building as a public building. We had a debate for the candidates running for 18th Middlesex District formerly known as the Kevin Murphy seat. It was a great opportunity for people to come into the community, and we sponsored that debate in partnership with the Lowell Sun. We had Elizabeth Warren come and do a book signing. We recently had Piper Kerman, who's the author of a book called Orange is the New Black. We had 600 people show up, and it was just amazing. And she signed books for 3 hours, and we really view this as a public building. We've gone to great lengths to develop temporary parking in front, which won't be ready until November, but that will be up to 2-hour parking where the public will be able to use this facility. We also are going to begin construction in the fall on the Policino Tong Business School. This is going to be a $40 to $45 million building. We're taking down a residence hall on the North Campus in order to build this business school here. There's great synergy between our engineering school, the research component of our university, and the business school. So we're excited with the fact that we're going to have a world-class business school. The Tsongas Center and transformation, many of you may have seen the reports. The Lowell delegation, Representative Golden, Representative Nangle, and Senator Donahue was successful in authorizing $30 million in 2 separate bond bills. In fact, $10 million of the money was put in when then Representative Murphy was the chairman of the Higher Education Committee. So we have that $30 million in authorization, $5 million we're going to raise, and we intend to put a first-class addition to the Tsongas. It's kind of interesting. The Tsongas Arena was built with $28 million, and this addition is going to cost $35 million. But a couple of things that this will do. This is part of an effort to develop Lot B, which is right next to the arena. We think that it expands the opportunity to attract world-class conventions. As many of you know, Lowell has never been able to attract either Republican or Democratic nominating convention because of the need for more floor space. This will have a practice ice, which is critically important. We have one of the best Division I hockey programs in the country, and we need a practice rink. We're the only team that doesn't have a practice rink on their campus in Hockey East. It's also going to have a world-class locker rooms for men's and women's basketball. We'll have a basketball facility, but more importantly, from an economic development standpoint, we'll have surfaces that we'll be able to put on both of these so that we can open all that space for world-class conventions. And we believe that facility, once we get it up and going, will mean more major events coming to the Tsongas and increase the need for a new hotel in downtown Lowell. The schedule will depend upon how quickly we can get the funding, appropriation for the funding, but we have been talking to the governor's office and to the A&F office about providing that funding, and I'd be glad to answer questions on that project. I think it's important for us to have a good relationship with our neighbors, and I know our neighbors feel the same way. We've been having meetings in the Acre that have been mutually beneficial, the Upper East Merrimack neighborhoods. We did the same in East Pawtucketville with our neighbors there over the last couple of years, working to create a process to help improve the quality of life in the neighborhoods. The UMass Lowell Police, Student Affairs Office, and the Office of Community Relations have collaborated to create a system whereby these offices share information regarding anything that's going on within the region. And our student conduct code is a strict student conduct code. And by sharing information with the police department, our police, and the Office of Community Relations, we're able to deal with students in a more efficient way. I know that many of you are aware that this newly opened University Crossing, we've been giving tours for neighborhoods from the Action Neighborhood Group, the Western Ave studios downtown. A couple of weeks ago, we held, this is a photograph, something called a coffee with a cup event at the Crossroads Cafe at University Crossing. And this is a new partnership between UMass Lowell Police, the Lowell National Park Service, and Lowell Police. Coffee with a Cop is a national program for police and community members to come together in an informal, kind of neutral space to discuss community issues, to try to build relationships and basically to drink coffee. There's no speaking program, there's no set agenda, but we're going to continue working with our partners at Lowell Police and the National Park Service Police to have these, meeting with a cop over coffee. We were also pleased that Manager Murphy's interested in making Lowell a college town. We have been working to collaborate. We meet on a regular basis. We're going to have a meeting with our planners and the city's planners to look at a number of these issues. We're also going to reissue a survey that was distributed to faculty, staff, and students 4 years ago in 2010, which is this survey that was done. We're going to look at that again. We have copies of the executive summary from the 2010 survey if you're interested, but we're going to update all of that information to see, where there's been changes, and because it's been 4 years and there's been more engagement by students and faculty in the downtown. Not as much as we'd like, but we're going to do an analysis and look at that. In addition to that, we're working with the city manager and the Lowell plan on a marketing initiative. The university is interested in partnering with the city and help funding that initiative. Patty McCafferty and Bruce Hoffman from the university have been working with the city on that, and I think it's really important that we promote. It's in the university's interest when the city is promoted, and it's in the city's interest when the university is promoted. I think over the last few years we've all kind of gotten that fact. We're a research university, and people don't realize what a research university really means, but we conduct research that allows us to partner with the city, including several creative economy projects. These are some of the examples of them, how music, dance, and photography can help the Cambodian American middle school students connect with their cultural identity. And that's, we've been working with our music department. I know the Acre Family Child Care program for running high-quality licensed child care businesses in their homes is another project that we've been working with our faculty on a research basis. Expanding the global and digital reach of the Kerouac legacy. I think that's an area we have enormous potential. Paul has been very, very involved with this, but our English faculty in particular have really been getting involved in this, and we have a great opportunity. As you know, Kerouac is an international figure who with a lot of incredible, great writers, has really taken on more popularity after his death, and that's an opportunity, I think, for the university and the city to think about how we leverage the great opportunities that we have on Kerouac. So those are some of the areas. We have focused on increasing our research portfolio. One of the reasons is because research universities are ranked in part by their ability to grow their research, and you can see how we've grown by about 65% our research. And basically, research means trying to find solutions to real-world challenges. And our research growth rate has been almost 10%. We believe that growth rate is going to continue, in spite of the fact in many instances the federal government has cut back on research. We've been looking for innovative ways to take our research faculty and find innovative ways to be innovative. We've developed partnerships. 3 of them I just want to briefly mention: HEROES, the Nerve Center, and Raytheon. HEROES is something called Harnessing Emerging Research Opportunities to Empower Soldiers. It's a partnership with Natick Soldier Research Development Engineering Center. It's a research center of the federal government. And we work with our faculty, our students, with the Army scientists and engineers on the campus. We also work at Natick. It's a great opportunity to develop what our military needs, but also it accelerates technology transfer to companies. Some of the best technology that we have in this country actually starts within defense. And what we want to do is spin off more of that technology to find a way to work with companies in our areas. All of you are familiar with the Mark and Alicia Saab building. It's an emerging technology and innovation center that was a partnership between the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and the university. It's a building that we are beginning to really feel some benefits and dividends to. It has beautiful high bay research labs, clean rooms, nano microfabrication labs. It's got printed flexible electronics labs. It's It's a nanomedicine is going in there. It's a fabulous building. And this building, I think, is probably the most important research building north of Cambridge, and it has all kinds of potential in emerging technology, specifically right now, nano materials and nanoscience. So we're excited about this building, and we think there's a lot more potential. We recently announced a new research institute with Raytheon. We've had a long-term relationship with Raytheon that goes back many, many years. I remember when I first got appointed to the position at Lowell, I went to see Bill Swanson at Raytheon, the CEO, and he talked about how he loved to hire UMass Lowell engineers. In part, he proceeded to detail our service learning program, which is a program where engineers in our program go out and and they basically build things to help either people that are disabled, a public need. And he said to me, you know, we're a defense industry, and yes, we're in the defense industry, and we make missiles and all that, but we want people who are engineers to understand that engineers can do so much public good, and we want them to approach engineering that way. So we've always had this relationship. Raytheon's committed $3 million to develop the fourth floor of our building, and we're very, very excited for our students, for our faculty, and we think there's, again, a lot of potential for economic spinoff. They're going to bring in state-of-the-art equipment. We have great lab space, great classrooms. We're going to have a major showcase facility that we're going to invite the public in, and we're just really excited about that relationship. Many of you, I think, are familiar with the Massachusetts Medical Device Development Center, which is a partnership between the UMass Medical School and UMass Lowell, as well as the medical device industry in Massachusetts. And this has been a very successful enterprise for us. The UMass Medical School is one of the top 10 medical schools in the country. They do over $350 million worth of research. They're constantly in the cutting edge of research in the medical industry. We love to collaborate with them. We have 15 companies. We have 54 clients that are in that building, been able to generate $44 million in equity. We have 152 jobs in startup companies. The manager and the management through that place several times. There are companies that are in there right now that the city manager and I have been talking to, looking at the possibility of expanding into the city. And I think it's one of the areas that we want to see if we can't develop some excellence, is making it seamless, where if we have startup companies that are looking for space, that we can we get them into space in downtown Lowell. So we're really working at that. Now, this has been so successful that we ran out of space for a small business incubator, and the result was that we looked for more space and had a process whereby we looked at 110 Canal Street. If not for the success of M2D2, that led to the Commonwealth investing further technology transfer of monies. It was a partnership that we developed with the Patrick administration to utilize the fourth floor for expansion, as well as the third floor incubator space. Many of you have been through that. We're really the first commercial client over at Hamilton Canals. And we're going to be targeting clients. We're going to be targeting M2D2 companies to be located in that facility. There are all kinds of possible entrepreneurial partnerships that are possible there, and we think this is a real win for the university and for the city. I'll try to get through this quickly. I want to thank the city for its partnership. We have challenges that we continue to work on. I think I mentioned the collaboration between the police department and our police department. We had a search for police chief a few years ago, and I asked the superintendent of police here at that time to be on the committee. And I think that as I look at the history of the relationship between the police departments, I don't think it's ever been better, candidly. And there are times when the Lowell Police will call our folks to ask for help on something, which we do, and I think the collaboration has really been good. Now, you never rest on your laurels. You've got to keep it going all the time, and we need to do that, and this is a major issue in the city. But I think that we're at a pretty good place in terms of collaboration. And finally, I think the collaboration with the city has also never ever been better. the planning that we do, we've met with city planners, trying to find a way to make sure we grow in a way that's consistent with how the city is planning and how the city wants to grow. With that, I thank you for the opportunity. All of us from the university are available and would love to entertain any and all questions that you have, or comments.
Thank you, Chancellor Meehan. I'd also like to point out that Councilor Martin has come in and Councilor Leahy has entered the building. Before I open up to questions, actually, I have an opportunity that I've really never had before, is to say thank you to you. But I do recall, I don't know if you recall this meeting, but when I was headmaster and you first took over the stewardship of the university, we lost a program that the university supported. And I went to you asking if you could continue the support. And you were very clear in saying you'd like to, but the money came from the tuition of students. It wasn't a grant-funded program, but it was, as you said, off the backs of your students, and you just couldn't do that. But you said to me that you would work with me to increase the enrollment of Lowell High School students up at the university. My enrollment at that time was between 22 and 26 a year. And you were looking to identify all types of students to come into the university. With your work and the promise that you made to me, the following year we had 120 students into the university. And when I left, I believe it was like 143 students had been accepted in the university with tuition support. So I want to thank you for that, because that's what it's all about.
Yeah, and on that issue, believe me, it's in the university's interest to go to a place like Lowell High School to attract students. It's a fabulous high school. I felt strongly that the university, the student body was not diverse enough, and that we needed to attract, students that you really have to compete with other universities for. And many of those students are at Lowell High School. I can remember talking to a then vice chancellor, and I said, why is it this campus feels not very diverse, like it's too white? And she said to me, well, that's because we service the Merrimack Valley, and it's basically 95% white. I said, no, it isn't. Do you ever go out to Lowell? Do you ever go to Lawrence? It's 90% Hispanic. We're losing those high-quality students to other places. So that's something that we were and we went into the high school, and one of the things we have invested in, programs that help students that have been admitted to Lowell to make sure that we work with them in the summertime before they start to make sure they're ready to go, because student success rates are very important. So that's a great example of the fact that, you let us bring recruiters in there, and that's really, in the end of the day, what we want. We don't want students going, in many instances, to private universities that aren't ranked as highly as we are, paying 2 and 3 times as much money. It doesn't make any sense. So I think particularly as our rankings go up and our stature has gone up, it's a great opportunity for students who live in Lowell to get a world-class university education. The other thing I would tell you is there was a rule before I got there that if you lived in Lowell or too close to the campus, you couldn't house on campus. Well, we want students to house on campus, particularly when they're freshmen. 82% of our freshmen live on campus. We have them part of learning communities. We want to attract the best students in Lowell and Chelmsford and Drake, and we want to let them live on campus so they get the full university experience. And it's worked really, really well, and I think that's another reason why we've been able to attract some of the best students from Lowell High School.
No, thank you. It certainly did work. I should note that in the second meeting I had at your office, you pointed out Boston University's placement and the University of Lowell. I think Boston University had slipped below.
Well, that was on return investment. I don't want to get Councilor Kennedy upset here. It was on return on investment, though. But it's true. I mean, it is true that return on investment. What's happening across the country, and people are starting to look at return on investment. People are asking, is college worth it? Well, it is worth it, but people today are looking at choosing a university or a college the way they would look at buying a car or buying a house. They're actually doing a little bit of research and looking at rankings, looking at how various programs are rated and what the quality of the faculty is. So it's really helped us. Our applications have tripled.
Before I turn it over, you said 80% of your freshmen are located on campus.
82%.
82%. Can we, as a city council, advise or push into our business district types of businesses that your students would be looking for?
Yeah,
Do you have ideas that would help us.
Yeah, it's one of the reasons why we want to do this report and update it, because at the time, 4 years ago, I mean, we're more integrated now into the city than I think we were 4 years ago, and I'm hopeful that in 4 more years, we'll even be more integrated. So, yeah, that is something I think that we have talked to students about it. I think we need to do is get business owners and students and faculty and get them all to interact as part of this study so that folks get a better feel for how to attract more folks to the, to the downtown. I can tell you, if you talk to them over at Cody's Market, since we've come in, business has more than doubled. And part of it, that's a great place. I mean, they have great products, and with people that work, not products, but food, and people that work at the university in that building, and there are a lot of them, because it's a big building. They go to Cody's to get their, it's an easier way to make a meal when you get home. So I expect that to continue, and I expect us to move down the street, more connecting to the downtown through University Crossing.
All right, thank you. Councilor Milonazo is present, and School Committee Person Conway is present. Councilor Mercia?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And Marty, I'm just so impressed by all the growth that has taken place. When you look at the university, the way that it was before you got there and the way that it is now, it's unbelievable. But knowing you the way that I do all these years, I'm not surprised under your leadership to see that. You're very kind to give credit to everybody. I know that everybody came together to create all this, but it takes a leader to make this happen, and so I'm very impressed by your creation, let's sort of say. But I think the success of any community is that we have people that become students, that become educated to fill in for businesses. And so we see the city growing, but we need to see industry here, and we need to have some sort of a marketing strategy whereby bring your businesses want to come here because they know that that university is creating the very people that'll fill the job needs of the industry. So this is a great Marion partnership as well that could take place. So having said that, because we want industry to be here, students to be educated to fill those needs, but we also want our businesses in the downtown, because I know Cody's Market is doing well. Roger Lavassa told me, oh my God, and it seemed like it was because of all the people that were doing the construction that they were taking part in that Cody's Market. I want to see the spin-off of your students coming further down so that Corey Belanger is happy. They came into Wicked Irish and they had a wonderful meal with a glass of beer, and they went to the
I think that new name is going to do it.
I think so. That's the name itself. But I want Cobblestones and all the restaurants downtown to cash in on the success of the university. Do you know what I mean? Because when you're coming over that Howe Bridge from Pawtucketville onto Pawtucket Street, and you see the magnificent, what was once the place where I was born at St. Joseph's Hospital, and you see that beautiful facility. And I'm sorry I didn't attend a lot of your openings because I do have to work and sometimes I can't get away, but I want you to know publicly how proud I am of everything there. But you see that there's places to eat in your facilities. I hope that spinoff creates a good atmosphere downtown to the businesses as well. I hope that happens too.
Can I comment a couple of things? Because the first part of your comments are right on the money. The fact is, when you have a highly educated workforce, that's what companies are looking for. They want to make sure they can get people with the skills that they need. So we need to do a better job of advertising and promoting the fact that we have highly skilled people. The M2D2 that I mentioned is a small business incubator. Basically, you've got those companies that we put up, and they're all getting started, and some of them are going to make it. And we had one woman who, at the opening of the 110 Canal Street, who the city manager called afterward, because she's ready to expand. That's the key. What we need to do is collaborating with the city, do a better job, and we could do a better job at this, of getting the conversation, the collaboration, so that whenever a company in M2D2 or any incubator is getting ready, that the city knows about it and there's a plan to show space right away and try to accommodate that. So that's number one, and that is a major, that's why we're going to 110 Canal. We're totally expanding, and we believe, and so does Jim Keefe believe, that we could have that 100% filled because of what we're doing, which is small business incubation and the research. The other point that you made on Cody's, initially, Cody's, because of the construction work, their business went up.
It did.
But if you talk to them now, it's up even higher because the people who work in the building and students are actually going to Cody's. There's only so much Sal's Pizza someone can eat. So you know, they would tell you now, we have our employees, and we have a lot of employees in the building now, all of admissions, all the administrative services. They love going there, but as I said, my goal is to connect us more to the downtown. And you know, it's selfish on the university part. I think downtown has a lot to offer, and I think that there are too many faculty and students that haven't gotten the opportunity to experience Wicked Irish and the downtown. So that is definitely part of our strategy, and we meet on a regular basis. I'm open to any ideas from business owners or anyone else as to how we can facilitate that. I think this study is a good idea, and then getting students and faculty talking to the businesses.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councilor Kennedy?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chancellor Meehan, this is, you've been back, I think, probably 3 or 4 times since I've been back on the city council, and I think it's really, I think it's a very healthy dialogue that keeps going by these meetings and by the other interaction that you have with the city and that the university has with the city. So I think it's good, and I hope we keep these meetings up. You mentioned that there were 20 to 22,000 students. That's what you had. Is that full-time students?
No.
Okay.
Our goal in 2018 is to have 20,000 students, and our goal after that will probably, our 2020 plan will probably be 22,000. Our undergraduate population just recently got over 10,000, but that's including students online, master's students, PhD students, and continuing education students. If you come to our campus at night, you'll see a lot of folks who are going to school part-time, so that includes everyone.
Okay. So I was gonna ask you what percent of those people lived on campus, but maybe a better question is, how many students do you have living on campus? And do you know...
Adam has the exact number, because we gave a presentation today, and he doesn't round off numbers. So what's the exact number of beds on campus? And include the rental properties, too.
You bet. It's a very memorable number. This fall, we have 3,999 students in campus housing, and that includes our some of the properties that we rent that are actually, that'll be something the city will appreciate, I'm sure. We rent a fair amount of rooms or beds in privately owned properties that you're able to tax. So you actually get the benefit twice of some of those students, both their presence in the community and also the tax dollars you get from where they live.
Okay. You couldn't find one more, Adam?
We're still looking. We're still looking. If we told you 4,000, it wouldn't be as interesting, right?
4,000 is a pretty good amount. Do you, could you tell us, and I think you've told us before, but could you tell us again what your plan is going forward for additional dorms and where those dorms would be? I mean, I've talked to you about this before, and I think that it's important. Well, I think 2 things. I think it's important that the dorms be as close to downtown as they can be, because I think it's just beneficial to the central business district. But I also like it a lot better when you lease dorms than when you own them, because it has an impact on the tax base.
First thing is we reached an agreement with the developer on the Broadsley project to put in an additional 300 beds. I want to make this point. We are the only public university in Massachusetts that has any private residence halls. We are the only one that has it. Broadsley was unique in that the developer was able to get funding with a 10-year lease, which is unusual. The advantage to us is it's not on a debt service, so there's an advantage to us. We're always looking for it, and we're looking for opportunities to do that, and we will continue to look for opportunities to do that. But there are impediments to it as a public university. There's certain rules and regulations that we go through. That's the reason why. But I think the Brazzi model so far, and if anyone else, Adam wants to comment or anyone else, I think the model's working pretty well with that project. I would prefer them to be closer to downtown too, closer to the East Campus. I mean, I think that's really where we'd like to have our students living. So we had a meeting about it today. We're going to continue to look around. I will tell you that when the university builds housing, it's really expensive to build the way we're required to build housing in Massachusetts. The rules of how you do it make it 38% higher cost. So we're always looking for ways to do that because students pay 100% of our costs. I mean, they literally pay 100% of it. So we're always looking for ways, and private housing is a way to do that.
Okay. I guess I think that if you did it once and you have that model, then why can't you replicate that model? And so you should be able to do it again that way.
Yeah, the problem is whether or not a developer could get financing based on a 10-year lease. And we happen to have found one that could, but I can tell you that I've talked to major developers of housing all over the country who say they won't do a 10-year lease on housing. So it's more of a challenge than you would think. But we have 530, 300, I mean, we're now up well over 835 beds in private, and that doesn't count those that we're renting. There are others where we have lease agreements around the city as well.
Okay. Okay, so of the 3,900, the 4,000 people that you have living, about 800 of them are in private.
Well, no, I would say probably, just go ahead, 1,000 anyway.
At present, it's probably about 850, and then we're going to be adding 300 more. The next 300 beds we add are going to also be as the Chancellor was just describing, in the expansion of Riverview Suites, which is also going to be in private housing as well. So that's that'll be about 25% of our total bed count will be in private properties that we lease.
Okay. My last question, are you prohibited from a 20-year lease? Is that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
By statute, is that how that?
No, it's part university policy. It's difficult for us to enter into those kind of, anyone else want to make a comment on it? We just haven't done them.
We have a whole bunch of layers of requirements that we have to meet. Some of them are statutory, but we also have both a building authority that actually is the leasing party in a lot of cases. We also have the president's office that sets policies that we have to follow. All of the 5 campuses of the university system have to follow. So a lot of these are decisions that we don't get to make locally on the campus. We have to abide by those requirements that are set for us.
Okay, thank you.
Council Martin, Council Belanger, any questions?
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to thank the Chancellor for coming in today, along with his staff, and echo Councilor Mercier's comments that the growth has just been tremendous, that we've all seen literally almost overnight in front of our eyes. And we all know when the university grows, the city grows, and it's quite clear the university is our largest asset. And it's very important we continue working together from here on in to magnify the great partnership that we have, even at this time. So, but through you, Mr. Chairman, to the Chancellor, is that, it's important with the state-of-the-art facilities that you have created, Chancellor, and that are coming in with a new business center. What we'd like to see is something we're probably not going to see to the degree of what you see in Cambridge, CIC in Cambridge, across from MIT, where all these great minds, these graduates ready for the workforce, go literally right across the street to incubator space, and there's only so much the university can do. They educate them, they get them work ready, and from there it's up to the city to try and keep them. So we'd like to see these great minds, Chancellor, stay in the city, get established in business, you know, right here in our footprint, right in the downtown and beyond. So I just like to know, I know there is a plan with 110 Canal that's been looked at, but we'd like to see, and I know you would too, improved incubator space where we can train these new business-minded graduates, keep them in city with programs we have to land them here and let them grow from within, right here in our city. So that's what's huge, because that's what's going to make this city really catapult, and the university is a large part of it, Chancellor. So that's what I'd like to see a strong emphasis on, which I know you're working on tremendously, but that's where I think the city and the university really needs to set our sights from here going on in. Thank you.
Yeah, I think, Council, what's important there is that our planning folks and in the cities, that we know where the space is and make it available right away. So, you know, I thought of something that Rita, the Councilor Mercy had said relative to the business development. I just want to make a point that's not in my presentation. When we build, let's say, the hockey program, so that we're now 12th in the country in attendance, we average 5,800 fans a game. If you go downtown either before the game or after the game, I mean, there are people everywhere. As we go Division I, we think that we're going to attract the same kinds of crowds for men's and women's basketball. And basketball is an interesting sport in Division I. I mean, we're playing in America East. If we win America East, we're in the national tournament. That guarantees we're going to have. So I think going Division I and the improvements we plan at the Songus are also going to help a lot. You had mentioned cobblestones and places like that. When we have a hockey game or a sold-out concert or anything that we have at the Songus Center, you really do see an impact. And this project, getting things, you know, the youth hockey leagues, get them into practice rink so we can do more events at the Songus that we're going to attract 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 people. That will help a lot, I think, for the downtown. And I just want to say that I think the Songus Arena, I think that has worked really well for the city and for the university. And because I can tell you, we weren't drawing 5,800 fans 7 years ago. We were drawing 500, 600. And so anyway, I want to mention, I had that in the back of my mind because you had talked about downtown businesses. And we actually go out and look at, you know, before a hockey game, after a hockey game, before a concert, after a concert. I want to make that point.
If I can improvise on that, Chancellor, the fact that we need some sort of a schedule of events that are taking place at the Songus Arena for our businesses to know that, so that they're not closed at these crucial times. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
We got to synchronize everybody to say, well, the workforce will come in at X time because we're going to be open later because there's an event at the Songus Arena or at the auditorium. We're not going to be closed while all this opportunity is ahead of us. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. And for example, Friday night we're playing Boston College. It's our opening game. We're going to, second year in a row, we won the Hockey East Championship. Second year in a row, Mr. Manager. And so we expect to have 6,000 people there. So that's a good example of great event.
Thank you. Thank you, Chancellor. Thank you for a great presentation and keeping us abreast of what's going on. I mean, as a city council, we know our success is dependent upon your success, and we appreciate everything you've done. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And if there's anything, you know, all the councilors should always feel free to either call me or call folks from the university who are here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Move to adjourn?
Second.
Hey, Jim. Good. How you doing? Nice to see you.
Thank you.
Mr. Larry.